Jazakumullah khairan to everyone for their patience. Inshallah, we're going to begin in a minute. We're just, of course, setting up everything so that the brothers downstairs, the sisters upstairs can see the content that we're presenting today. Again, request everyone's patience and understand that this is a journey. We're not here to do injustice to a topic which is pivotal to the existence of humanity on this earth. Rather, what we have to do is take it step by step and make sure we do justice. And that's exactly what we're planning to do here today and tonight, inshallah.
So what's going on with this planet now?
What's going on with the planet? Well, we're going to be talking parts of that tonight. And so you can join and listen in, and then we'll go from there, inshallah.
And you'll go to Jannah, right?
Inshallah, all of us. Inshallah.
Yeah. Like what these technology are doing, they're bad, right?
Well, it depends on how you use it, but inshallah, we're going to learn to use things better, inshallah. Yes, inshallah.
And then Allah should take us out of here.
Inshallah. It's a
good
thing.
Out of here.
Inshallah. In our time, inshallah.
And I wanted to, be a part of you, work with you.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you for being here.
I'll be your volunteer.
Thank you so much.
I'm Babar Hassan.
Babar, Azhar. Azhar. Nice to meet you.
Last name?
Subedar. Thank you. MashaAllah. Okay, everyone. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawalah. أما بعد رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي زدني علما والحقني بالصالحين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. Brothers and sisters, I want to start off with two things tonight. Number one, how come the topic in discussion that we've been talking about for the last 5 months, which alhamdulillah is going to become part 14 now, so we went from 12 to 13, now we shall have 14 parts. How come we really don't see anything that indicates that this is true? You would have smelled smoke to know that there is a fire in Australia. If you understand, if you're in Sydney and you're smelling smoke, whatever you saw on the TV of fires in Australia, you would say, yeah, there's fires, because I could smell the smoke. Or you would then see the smoke, and Allah forbid you would actually see the fire. There is ample proof at that time that the fire does exist. But why is it? Why is it that the topic in discussion of Isa alayhi salam and Dajjal and Gog and Magog and so on and so forth, there is no element of proof. There is no evidence in our day-to-day world that hints towards this being a reality. Why is that? Let me answer. The more it becomes harder to believe, the closer you've come to that time. Remember this. The more it becomes difficult to comprehend, the closer the reality of it will become. Ladies, can I hear upstairs? Okay, we'll just bring this one here. Yeah, we should be able to just... Could the sisters hear now, inshallah? Does that sound better? No? Does that sound better? Okay, mashallah, thank you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect His noble ones. And so our goal is to be the noble ones. Right? Alhamdulillah. We pray to Allah for everyone. We pray Allah guides everyone, inshallah. Ameen. Ameen. That's cheating. Yeah.
And this world is cheating us.
Inshallah. The more we learn, the better we'll become, inshallah. Inshallah.
And you're all around the world, right?
Allah's knowledge is everywhere. So, alhamdulillah.
Like you're the, like
I'm working on this community right now, inshallah, myself. Inshallah.
Things work the real way.
Inshallah, for all of us. Inshallah.
And I'll volunteer for you.
Inshallah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mashallah.
I'll have to give you my number.
Inshallah.
And you call me and I can come by.
Inshallah. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, brother. Inshallah. Allah bless you, inshallah.
We'll all try to beat down these engineers.
Inshallah.
You also work for the government too, right?
No.
You're just a public figure, right?
I'm just working for the masjid, inshallah.
Public.
Inshallah. And we can talk more about that after the thank you so much. Thank you so much, inshallah. Allah protect all of us, inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in many verses, alluding to the fact that this world is a deception, that it's all about optics, al-malu wal-banuna zinatul hayatid dunya. He talks about how this world is la'ibu wa lahu. It's a game, it's a competition, it's a play. وَزِينَةٌ وَتَفَاخُرٌ بَيْنَكُمْ. Why is Allah saying all this? He is telling us when the smoke screen becomes thick, know that the reality is right behind it. And so it's not going to become clear. For those from the scholars and from those from the people of knowledge who feel that this topic of discussion is only relevant when we see it happen, I swear by Allah and I promise you, based on what I've researched so far, it's going to be too late to talk about it. There's a reason why the Prophet Muhammad said, read Surah Kafh every Friday. I've talked about this before. It's so that you do not get deceived with what your eyes see and you're able to see on a much lower level. Let me give you an example. Cars have fog lights. Yes or no? Where are those fog lights, brother? Where are they? On top of the car or more below? They're below, right? So you have your headlights. Headlights give you general guidance. They allow you to see the road at night. Right? Everyone's with me on this? But when there is fog, you need lights located on the bottom, which helps you see through the fog and gives some reflection of an object that's in front of you that with your regular vision you cannot see. Your fog lights are your heart. Your eyes are the headlights. Foolish is the person that feels that their headlights are sufficient. And so we're living in a world today that lives in England, for example, full of fog, and they're saying we just need our headlights, we don't need our fog lights. Something unfortunate may happen. Number two, the second point I want to allude towards, just to make sure that you and I are on the same page, before we go into tonight's topic. Actually, before I go into, let me finish the first point. One more thing I want to add is that when Allah will open your heart, you'll be able to read the signs. You don't need to be a scholar. You don't need to be a saint. You don't need to be someone sitting in the masjid all the time. Do what the Prophet Muhammad said consistently. And inshallah, you will be able to notice what is coming. So as I said again for point one, you'll never see the signs, and the more difficult it becomes to see the sign, know that's how close that reality is. Point number two, tonight we're going to learn how in the Holy Quran, Zamir is the who, the ha, these type of indicators that reference towards something or someone. How in tarjuma, just translation, it can be misconstrued and it can be taken for a total different message. I've been pondering over the fact that why our common current day scholars and bodies of knowledge fear tafsir of Quran. Meaning, actively doing tafsir of Quran. Do you understand what I'm saying? Shall I elaborate on that? When we pick up tafsir, we pick up a tafsir of tafsir Usmani, tafsir Mazhari, tafsir Ma'arif al-Quran, tafsir Jalalain. There's so many tafsir that are written that explain what the Quran says. Everyone understand where I'm going now? It's written. How come no one wants to write one for today? Na'udzubillah. Imam, what do you think? Quran changed? Yes and no. What do I mean? Quran is the same, but the Quran is speaking to you now as it spoke to them 100 years ago, as it spoke to them 500 years ago, as it spoke to them 70 years ago. Mufti Shafi Usmani, who wrote Ma'arif al-Quran, 50 years ago I think it was. The thing is, we are deceiving ourselves if we feel the Quran's translation and interpretation has to be what we have. We should not indulge in this thought that we should translate. We don't need to really translate, because realistically, translation cannot give full due of the Quran, but we should be open to interpreting the Quran on what it says. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Mursalat refers to a verse that is truly eye-opening with the world today. And I'm just going to present that verse to you, and I will ask of you to think, what is the translation of that verse? And while I'm pulling that verse up, because it just came to my mind, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. What does Allah say, everyone? وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ. And verily He is the sign of the hour. Who is He, everyone? Rasulullah ﷺ, as many people say. If you go back to a few verses before it, Allah is talking about Isa alayhi salam. And Allah in the discussion of the surah says, وَإِنَّهُ. Who zamir has to go back to something that's in discussion. And who is going back exactly to Isa alayhi salam. That verily Isa alayhi salam is the sign of the day of judgment. All the signs that we are seeing right now are leading up to His arrival. Once He comes, the true clock that counts down the day of judgment will actually begin. So, again, what is the sign here? Isa alayhi salam's return. I hope none of you are turning a blind eye to how religion is being propagated, discussed, presented in our media today. Religion is being presented in this twisted way that is focused on one thing: bring Jesus back. At any cost, bring Jesus back. And so, brothers and sisters, you can talk about the evangelicals or other groups and other religions that are working around the clock to bring Jesus back. And Allah's telling us He will return, and His return will mark the countdown of the day of judgment. Do not think that that time will come and you will have minutes to spare to prepare for it. It will be too late. And that is why I'm trying to start conversation amongst us as students of this course in alhamdulillah 2 different cities, for us to realize that this is no longer a joke. The verses of Surah Mursalat, if you want to point it, if you want to refer back to it after, is verse number 29, 30, 31, and 32. What is everyone? 29, 30, 31, and 32 of Surah Mursalat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking that proceed to that which you used to deny. Proceed to a shadow or smoke having 3 columns, no cool shade or availing, not against the flame. Indeed, it throws sparks as a fortress. What is Allah talking about here? 100 years ago, people would have said it's talking about the hellfire.
Like hellfire is a place where you get tortured, you get burned.
So it's talking about hellfire, as some would say, it's talking about 3 types of shadows or smokes. And what is this talking about? Inshallah, a few months from now, when I present part 13, you will realize that this is talking about the hell that will occur on this earth. It's talking about 3 stages of this hell, the 3 columns, the 3 stages that are actually occurring as we speak. May Allah allow us to turn on our fog lights. Say Ameen. May Allah allow us to use those fog lights, our hearts. And may Allah allow us to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in His beautiful, glorious book, the Quran. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. So let's move forward, inshallah. I'm doing a split screen today, so it's kind of confusing for me. Where are we? Okay, there we go. Why isn't it allowing me to... Is that my mouse there? Okay, there it is. So how can I go to the next one? Oh, there we go. Beautiful. So brothers and sisters, recapping once more here, we talked about the 3 reasons of importance behind this. We're not going to go through them again. Last month we built the case that Isa alayhi salam, what happened in the final hours that he was on earth, trying to contest or challenge the common belief that prevails, especially amongst the Christians. Today we're going to address 2 things. Number 1, those who wish to prove that Jesus was crucified but did not die at the cross. And number 2, those who believe Jesus was crucified and killed at the cross, both of them have failed to convince and provide clear-cut answers to the many points that beg solution. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's why He says in the verse that we are going to discuss tonight, only a part of, Allah says those who disagree concerning it are full of, what is it everyone? Doubts. The world is full of doubts, and Allah through the Quran is eliminating those doubts. And tonight we're going to explore how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does that. These doubts are in reference to Him being killed, Him being crucified, and the whole 9 yards, which we are going to explore tonight, inshallah. This is really complicated here. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says 3 things about Isa alayhi salam's crucifixion. How many things, everyone? 3 things. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ. Allah says they did not kill Him. وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ. They did not crucify Him. وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. It was made to appear so to them. Is everyone okay with this? This is a part of a verse. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ is only a part of a verse. In the case of it being an affirmative sentence, if Allah said, for example, they killed him, there's no doubt. Let me give you an example. ضَرَبَ زَيْدٌ بَكْرًا. For those of you who took Arabic lessons, right? ضَرَبَ is a verb. It's a fi'l. It is an act. It means hit. زَيْدٌ is the fa'il. He's the one who hit. So he's the hitter. Bakran is the one who was hit. He's maf'ul bihi. Daraba Zaydun Bakran. Zayd hit Bakr. Very clear. Yes or no? Any doubt in this? I think the only doubt is who's Zayd and who's Bakr. And why do we care about why Zayd and Bakr? I really don't know. We grew up reading these examples in our Sarf and Nahwa, and we would ask our teachers, like, who's Zayd and who's Bakr? Why does Zayd keep on hitting Bakr? We need to figure this one out. So, other than that, let's go back to the fact that if it was an affirmative sentence, Allah said, they killed him. I don't think there'd be any doubt or suspicion as to who killed who. The offender, the offense, and the offended would be clear. Do you all agree? If they say, for example, they missed prayer, right? And we're pointing towards the group that prays in the back there. I think the people the thing and the place is all kind of figured out. We have clarity. But when you bring the word not into it, it makes it a negative sentence. They did not kill him. There's a possibility to vary the meaning in three ways by shifting the stress alternatively on resting of one of the three words. Let me explain this to you, because as I'm telling you tonight, the translation of the Quran and tafsir of the Quran is so delicate that by shifting our emphasis, we can change the meaning. Everyone's ready for this? Now this thing is echoing and it is bothering me, so I'm going to put this one down. I'm going to try to focus with this one. Could everyone hear me with this? Is this okay? Okay. Let's look at the first one. Those three sentences in front of you, brothers and sisters, do they look the same? Tell me, do those three sentences look the same? The one that's dark, right? Now listen to how I say it. They did not kill him. That would mean someone else killed him. If I say, I didn't eat the cookies, that doesn't mean that I don't know who ate the cookies. Someone else ate them. But when I'm putting the emphasis on a word of the sentence, emphasis alone isn't distinct in a written paper. Emphasis is only that you can hear if it was said, if it was uttered. So now we're going to take the same verse. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ. We're going to one part. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ. They didn't kill him. They did not kill him sounds very simple. But if I say they did not kill him, it leaves room for a person to believe someone else killed him. Are you all with me on this? Number two. They did not kill him. They did not kill him. Look, I didn't kill the guy. I just beat him up black and blue. I didn't kill him. Please come to your door. Did you kill that person? I didn't kill him. What does that mean? मार के उसके जो है खोपड़ी फाड़ दी, लेकिन उसको कत्ल तो नहीं किया. I just broke his head, but I didn't kill him, you know. You can open a can of worms with emphasis. Are you all with me on this? They did not kill him. It could mean they just tortured him. And if we say they did not kill him, I did not eat the turkey, I just ate everything else. Right? They did not kill him would mean that they killed someone else. Let's recap here. There's a verse. It's this long, okay? We're working on these three words of the verse. With three parts of the verse. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. Now we're going to only one part. And I'm showing you that there are three possible meanings to that sentence. Do you understand how delicate this knowledge is? Because it's this same verse, the same verse, that there are scholars who say Isa alayhi salam was killed, wasn't killed, isn't coming back, came back. It's because of the verse. You can change it based on where you want to insert the emphasis. So now we're going to look at these three, and all three are possible meanings of the word of the Quran. All three are possible. We should remember, the Quran is not denying the events wholesale by saying, no, nothing happened, or nobody did anything to anybody. Is the Quran saying that? The Quran says something happened. And not only does it say something happened, but it puts a level of interest in saying it. It actually said they didn't kill him, they didn't crucify him. It was made for them to assume that something happened. Why did Allah have to go in so much detail? Well, because something happened. And tonight it's your job and my job to understand what happened from who to whom. Who did what to who? We need to find that out tonight. So now what we have to do is we need to knock off two of these in order to focus on one of them being correct. At this time, the sentence, they did not kill him, is open for three different interpretations. How many, everyone? They did not kill him, they did not kill him, and they did not kill him. Which one is it? Let's go and find out. If you see, okay, I'm there, right? Okay. So over. No? Am I messing up? Okay. There we go. MashaAllah. Okay, let's come back here. This is confusing. Okay. There is no doubt as to the offender. The story that Allah is telling us in the Quran, I want us to loop it with the Bible. Brothers and sisters, we need to see everything from the larger lens. We cannot see it microscopically from the Quran alone. Understand? That's why we went, and that's why we are, and that's why we'll continue to be in the Bible as we then make a case for what's in the Quran and Sunnah. We learn from the Bible that who wanted to kill Jesus? Who wanted to kill Jesus? The Jew hierarchy and priests, the rabbis. Why did they want to kill him? We learned this last month. Because the life of Isa alayhi salam was an open, blatant threat to their power and to their control. There was, again, we said this in the beginning, we'll say this every time. You read the rules before we started. We are not here to put down a religion. We're not here to badmouth the people. We're not here to instigate terrorism, nothing like this, or politics. That's not what we're here for. We're here to understand history and context so that ultimately after 14 parts, inshallah, we'll be able to, bi'idhnillah, understand the world in context. Is that okay? That's what we're doing here. If you feel that's not for you, then mashallah, may Allah accept whatever you've done and you can go. But we want to understand history to understand the present time. Only then can you understand the prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. If you're banking that these prophecies will come and slap you on the face and say, hey, I'm here now, it's not going to happen. You need to know history, to know present. You need to know both to know the future, inshallah. We're not predicting the future. Alamatul Sa'ah, the signs of the Day of Judgment are what? To allow us to understand what's coming. When? We cannot say. So, the Jewish rabbis wanted to kill Isa alayhi salam. Not only do the Jews want to, the Jews themselves claim to have done that deed. And we know that they were not able to do so. Why were they not able to do so? Could someone tell me? They're under Roman law. They're being ruled by the Romans. They cannot take law in their hands. This is also ideal for us Muslims if we use that story. People in America feel, courtesy of some type of news channel, I forgot the name of it, that Sharia law is coming to America. Well, let them know two things. Sharia law cannot come to America and be imposed in America because there's already a system of governance in America. Yes or no? There's a constitution, there's law. And the same Sharia law says to follow that law so long it does not infringe on your rights to do the basics of your religion. And if it does, then we have to do hijrah. What do we have to do, everyone? Hijrah. So, the fact that the Jews wanted to do something to him, they couldn't do it because they were under the rule and law of the Romans. They couldn't pass judgment on Jesus, peace be upon him. So we know the offender are the Jews. Again, not the Jews, it was a group of them. Everyone's with me? Now the question remains the offense and the offended. About the second possibility that they did not kill him would mean that they crucified him and he escaped death. Possibly, right? They might have thrown him on the cross and they ran. They go, let's get out of here because the Romans are coming. And Isa alayhi salam was like, guess what? Your gorilla glue didn't work and he would have came down and ran. Who knows? Something could have happened. No, there was no Gorilla Glue at that time for those sleeping. There was no Gorilla Glue, just don't worry. But Isa alayhi salam could have escaped. Someone would have come and grabbed him off the cross, healed his wounds over time, and he would have been fine. But Allah says no. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ. Allah is saying, forget killing, they didn't even get him on the cross. Do you understand that? They didn't even crucify him, meaning they didn't even get him on the cross. So we know that the fact that there could be an open-ended discussion on the offense is not possible only because of the fact that Allah closed that door already. They didn't kill him. They didn't even crucify him. They didn't even get him onto the cross. The next part of the verse eliminates it. As I said, they did not crucify him. Having eliminated these two possibilities, it only allows us to look at one, and that is they did not kill, everyone, him. Yes, it was not him that they crucified and killed, but they killed someone else. Allah is not negating the fact that someone died. Someone did die. Someone died. Allah didn't say someone did not die. Allah said someone died. Someone was crucified. The Jews wanted to kill someone, and someone did die. And they wanted to crucify someone through the Roman law, and someone was crucified. But what we know for certain from this one segment of a verse, which many people think that tarjuma and translation of the Quran in tafsir is something anyone could do. Remember, as I said in the beginning, I believe there should be current time tafsir of the Quran by those who have the knowledge to do so. What makes myself, Shaykh Arsalan, Mufti Wasim, and other scholars alike scholars is that we have to master 15 sciences in order to understand Islamic's holy text in context. We don't spend 10 years doing tarjuma of the Quran. We do that in the last 2.5 to 3 years. 7 years before that is understanding the sciences, fasaha, balagha, sarf, nahwa, and so many things that you need to understand in order for the tafsir to be possible. So again, I hope for all of us, this one segment of a verse opens our eyes to realize that how truly delicate the Quran is, and how just laying emphasis on one word over another can change the entire meaning of what the Quran is saying. Does everyone agree on that? Yes or no? It's very delicate. So again, they did not kill him. Yes, it was not him that they crucified and killed, but someone did get killed. So let's put the stress and emphasis on the right part. Let's do it together. They did not kill him. They did not crucify him. But it was made to appear to them so. It was made to appear to them that they crucified Isa and killed him, but they did not do either. So the question now becomes what? Tell me, what's the question now? Can anyone tell me what the question is? Who died? Who died? We know the Jews wanted someone dead and someone died. Who died? Let's figure that one out here. Shall I see if this is so hard. Okay. I'm there again. There we go. Oops. Okay. Having fully believed in Allah's words. We believe in Allah's words. Everyone say that. We believe in Allah's words. Let us now move on to find the evidence of the truth in the Bible to support it. We're going to learn around 12 things. Today we're going to cover, I think, 7 or 8. Number 1. We learned last month when Jesus, peace be upon him, was awaiting the arrest by the Roman soldiers. We knew that was happening, right? He called. I told you to remember a name last month. What was his name last month? Judas Iscariot, right? So you remember his name. It's coming up. Interesting figure. What happened was, for those who were here last month, Judas went to the Jews and said, hey, you know what? I can hand Jesus over to you. Because Judas was one of the 12 disciples. He had access. Well, what are you going to give me? I'm giving you Jesus, I need something. So the Jews said, we'll give you 30 shekels or 30 silver coins. That's good. I'm getting money. See, there's a reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, يَشْتَرُونَ بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. There are people who will sell the religion for a few dollars. Let the story of Judas remind us all, myself first and foremost as scholars, that we should never sell our religion. فَوَيْلٌ لَهُمْ مِمَّا كَتَبَتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَوَيْلٌ لَهُمْ مِمَّا يَكْتُبُونَ. Allah curses what they write and they curse what was written. Today religion is being twisted and manipulated all for what? Dunya. Ad-dunya darun liman la darala. This earth is a house for someone who has no home. The worst thing that is, and again, we can't just blame the scholars, we have to blame our communities also. How through different ways scholars are used to make a point which isn't part of our religion. Judas did just that. May he serve as a reminder to us all. Say Ameen. Ameen. So what happened was, Isa alayhi salam already knew that this is happening. Who told Isa alayhi salam? He got a ping notification on his iPhone 22. Did you know that? No? Okay, we'll figure it out. He got a notice from Allah that this is happening. So he says, and this is in Mark chapter 14 verse number 41, sleep on now and take rest. Sleep on, meaning keep sleeping, take rest. It is enough. The hour is come. Behold, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of the sinners. This is such a beautiful verse because as Isa alayhi salam talks about betraying, he says the Son of Man. How many times can we prove in the Bible that Isa alayhi salam said he's the Son of Man? Because he's not the Son of Allah. But the thing is, it's in the book. The question is, are people able to see it? It's easy to take one part of a verse or a tradition and pull it and make it seem like that's the real truth of everything. For example, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ stood up and urinated. Hadith is in Bukhari. Which hadith? It's in Bukhari. But you know what? It happened once. But you can take that tradition and you could pull it. And you could stand up your whole life and go to the bathroom and say, it's in hadith. It's there. It's there. But under what context? Why? So same thing here. There are many times that Isa alayhi salam said, Son of Man. Yes, he did say, according to the translation, Father. But the translation alludes towards a level of respect. Not that you are my Father and I am your Son. Does that make sense? So he said the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of the sinners. The Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified in Matthew chapter 26 verse 2. Now, Jesus never said he will be crucified. Did he say that? Everyone look at those verses. Did he say he will be crucified? Yes or no? He said that he will be betrayed to be crucified. Someone's setting him up to be crucified, but he didn't say, I'm going to die. Now, why is this important? Because one of the core fundamental beliefs of many Christians is Jesus died for your sins. Jesus volunteered to go up on the cross and shed blood because according to the Christian faith, in order for penitence and forgiveness, you have to bleed. And Jesus bled for all Christians. But then Jesus would have went up voluntarily. Yes or no? But he didn't go. He said that he's being betrayed or set up. He did not go. Point number 2. Jesus says in Matthew 26 verse 24, the Son of Man goes as it is written of him. The Son of Man, could everyone say the word? Goes. Did he say dies? Did he say killed? No. Goes as it's written of him. But woe unto the man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. This is deep. Did Allah curse Abu Lahab? Did Allah curse Abu Lahab, everyone? Yes or no? Tabbat yada Abi Lahabi wa tab. Do you think he ever saved himself? Allah cursed from that moment till fire. وَامْرَأَتُهُ حَمَّالَةَ الْحَطَبِ. His wife is going to fuel that fire with the wood. He's doomed. Yes or no? Since I brought this example up, keep that surah in your brain, because there's going to be something coming up in part 12 that will make you ask, why was it that when the Prophet ﷺ started da'wah and he gave the first invitation and Abu Lahab goes, "Curse be upon you," that Allah cursed him? Allah didn't curse Abu Jahl until it was the 14th or 15th year of Islam. Yes or no? That's when he died in Badr. Why did Allah curse Abu Lahab on the first day of da'wah? Isn't Allah Ghafurur Rahim? Why did Allah curse him for? You'll get the answer, inshaAllah. My point tonight is, anyone who's cursed by Allah and the Prophet is done for. Done for. Jesus, peace be upon him, just cursed them and said, "Woe to the man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born." I will show you, inshallah, tonight how that curse plays out. About himself, Isa says, "The Son of Man goes as is written." He did not say he dies. Yes or no? He then says that it would be good that he was not born. It's a nice way of wishing death on the betrayer. In Balagha, there's a book called Nafhatul Arab. We read this book that teaches us, the high-level Arabic in the Arabian world. And there is a poetry, "Khatali Zaydul Aba Layta Aynayhi Sawa." Zayd was a tailor. He was blind by one eye. He made a jubbah for me. I wish his eyes were both equal. What does this mean? It could mean that he made such a bad jubbah he should have lost both his eyes. Or he made such a good jubbah, how much greater would he have made it if he had the other eye? Does that make sense? Open for discussion. Here, he made a nice way of cursing this person. He did not say he will die. He said it would have been good he wasn't born. What does he mean? This guy's going to die. Who's this guy? Judas. Even after the curse of the Messenger of Allah, is there any way that the betrayer will continue to live? No. Thus in the above verse, it has been determined as to who is destined to go and who is destined to die. Who's going to die? Who's going to die? Judas is going to die. Why? Because Isa has cursed him. Who is going? Who is going? Isa is going. When is he going to go? Where is he going to go? We'll find out, inshallah, next month or two. But do you understand, just by this Matthew chapter 26 verse 24, we learned that Isa is making a distinction. Someone's going to go from here and someone's going to die. Just like Yusuf made the interpretation for the two prisoners, one of you is going to live and one of you is going to die. One of them died, yes or no? And one of them became the servant of the king, yes or no? Simple as that. Isa made it very clear. What just happened there? Okay. Does anyone see anything on their side? Subhanallah, interesting. Okay, we'll come back onto this. There we go, are we back? Okay. So, we move to the next side. Now the Judas comes. So Judas comes with the Roman army. And he's coming in the dark with a number of soldiers carrying torches and weapons. Picture this. Dark night, no street lights. Judas is in this cover and a hood. He's got a light. The people come to him, the army. He's like, let's go. Have they seen Judas? Has the Roman army seen Judas? Yes or no? They haven't seen him. Because the Jews set it up. Okay, Romans, this guy's going to take you to the guy who's committing treason and plotting against your empire. They did it in the darkness of night. And as they're coming, we find there's so much confusion. For example, in Mark 14, verse 44, and he that betrayed him had given them a token, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, that same is he. Take him and lead him away. In Matthew, verse 48 of chapter 26, and in Luke, he's saying something. Let me explain this to you. Judas says to the Roman army, I'm going to go and you're following me, okay? Just watch me. When I enter this house, I'm going to kiss someone on the head. The guy I kiss is Jesus. You take him. Everyone's with me on this? Because if he was to jump up and say, hey guys, that's Jesus, then all the disciples will know this guy's a betrayer. Isa has already told the rest of his disciples, someone's betrayed me. They'll figure it out. But he's not going to put his life on the line against the people who he was connected with. So he said, I'll give you a sign. I'm going to kiss him, I'm going to move away, and then you're going to run in and grab him. Everyone's with the plan here? Right? So we find that Judas, after receiving a band of men and officers from the chief priests, come inside with lanterns and torches and weapons. Jesus, therefore, knowing all things that will happen to him, Allah told Isa, say yes? Yes or no? Allah told Isa, it's coming, they're coming. So he went up to them and he said to them, who are you looking for? In John chapter 18, verse 5, we're on the bottom 4 verses, they said, we're looking for Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus said, I am he. What did Jesus say? I am he. And Judas was standing next to him. As soon as he said that, they all fell down. We call this in Urdu, ru'ab. When you have this power where you say something, it hits people. He said, I am Jesus. And they all fell back. According to the Bible, they all fell back. And at that time, what transpired? Let me go back here. Okay, very good. From verse 6 that we just read, verse 6 of John chapter 18, as soon as he said, I am he, they fell backwards. Judas was the only one standing next to Jesus. He kissed him. And Jesus said, I am he. The whole crowd fell down. Their lanterns fell down. And it was at that moment that the situation based on the Bible was the moment that Allah started transforming the face of who? Of who? Judas. The soldiers who came to arrest Jesus took away Judas. And Isa and the disciples ran. Isa knew this is happening. So when they came in, they're like, who you looking for? We're looking for Jesus. I am Jesus. Judas had already come in. He's mingling with the disciples. He didn't come in a second before. Because if he comes in a second before, they know there's something happening. So he came in, he's hanging out, and then they knocked the door. And the door opened. He had kissed them. He said, who are you looking for? He said, Jesus. I am Jesus. They all fell down. At that moment, the rest of the disciples grabbed Isa and they ran. And we'll talk about that coming up in a month or two. But we want to focus on what happens to Judas tonight. In Mark chapter 14, verse 50, and they all forsook him and fled. Now let me tell you this. The interpretation of this verse in the Bible, you should carry a Bible on your phone. I carry a Bible on the phone. And I read the Bible and I study it for this purpose. It says they forsook him and they fled. Does anyone know what forsaking means? Could someone tell me what does forsaking mean? Yes? They left him standing, right? They left him to hang, dry himself. They left him. According to the Christians, they say that every disciple ran away from Jesus. Jesus was left standing, everyone ran. Isn't that how kids do shararat and mess around? And the second they break someone's window, the person who broke it is standing there and all the friends have run. Like, who did it? And he's standing alone. He's like, he doesn't know who to point to because everyone ran. The Bible, this verse is in the Bible, and they interpret it as saying, everyone ran, Jesus was left. So who was arrested according to that interpretation? Jesus. But guess what? Allah is so merciful. He sent a verse down in your Quran, in my Quran, to dispel this. What did Allah say? فَلَمَّا أَحَسَّ عِيسَى مِنْهُمُ الْكُفْرِ. When Isa sensed from his disciples some kufr, some resentment, some reservation. قَالَ مَنْ أَنصَارِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. He said, who's my helpers for Allah? قَالَ الْحَوَارِيُّونَ. All the disciples said, نَحْنُ أَنصَارُ اللَّهِ. We are your helpers. We are your helpers for Allah. So the Quran, this verse, is rejecting the notion in the Bible that states that they ran away and they left Jesus hanging to dry. Does that make sense? The Quran is answering in 500 years whatever misconceptions were produced from the words of the Bible. The Quran is answering it. Say subhanallah. There cannot be a better correlation than this. The Quran is answering it. To anyone who in Christianity says, but in Mark 14 verse 50 it says they left Jesus and it was Jesus they arrested. No. They would have never left Jesus. Because one of the disciples of Jesus said, my life over yours. The disciples were so loyal. They were like Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali. What did Ali radiallahu anhu do for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He slept on his bed. He said, my life over yours. You go in my grave. When Quraysh ransack this house, they want to kill me, they'll kill me. But we will never watch the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam die. It's not going to happen on our watch. And so, Judas was the one they left. Remember the he? Zamir? He? Who is the he? They all left Judas standing and they all ran with Isa alayhi salam. Is this good work here? Is it working? No. It is. Very good. Okay. Number 4. Now Judas is caught. He's in a bad situation. He never thought he'd be here. And if he says, wait, guys, I'm not the guy that you wanted ran, do you think anyone's going to believe him? How many people get arrested by the police and say, I didn't do it? How many? Almost every story. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. You were speeding. I wasn't speeding. My foot was just too hard on the pedal. I didn't speed. So we all have an excuse. Judas knew at this time that if he was to say something, he's not going to be believed by them. Whenever you encounter now, I want you all to walk with me on this. We're going to go John chapter 18, verse 19 to 23. How many verses is that, everyone? 5 verses. How many verses? 5. Whenever you hear the word Jesus, what do you say? Judas. When I say Jesus, what do you say? Judas. Because this is how the story is going to make sense. And believe me, it does make sense. So, look at me for a second. Judas is arrested. Judas is taken to the court. Judas is now in this shame because he's cursed. What is he? Whoever gets the curse of Allah and His Rasul will never escape. Allah's curse is in the Quran. May Allah protect all of us from His curse. Say Ameen. The Prophet ﷺ has also left curses. May Allah protect us from those curses. Say Ameen. It's very important. Because this is also teaching us what happens when you're cursed. So anyways, he's now standing in the court. Verse 19. The high priest therefore asked Jesus, what do you say? Judas, of his disciples and the teaching. Okay, tell us, what do you teach? Who are your friends? Who are your accomplices? Like the people who you work with? Tell us about them. Tell us about your partners in crime. Tell us about what you teach. Judas, answered him, I spoke openly to the world. I always taught in the synagogue and in the temple where the Jews always met. And in secret I've said nothing. Now come on everyone, tell me. Someone puts on their LinkedIn profile that they are 20 years expert in IT management. And you call them forward for an interview. What did you do in 20 years? I surfed the web and I looked at this and that and it was all beautiful. It's like, how someone, I'm not going to say the name, talks, the Bible's a beautiful book. The book is very beautiful, has great verses in it. I know Jesus more than anyone else does. Does he know Jesus? I don't think he's even read the Bible. It's called bluffing. What does a prophet do? Because someone tell me what one thing all prophets did. What did they do? What was the one thing all prophets did? Da'wah, message. Right now, the court is asking Jesus, tell us your message. Did Rasulullah run to the leaders of Quraysh, yes or no? Did he go to Ta'if, yes or no? Why? He wanted an opportunity to speak himself. Hey guys, I got this message. This is what it is. Right? Yes or no? He wanted to give the message. Why is it that Jesus right now is in court and is being asked, what did you use to talk about and what were the people that you talked about with? Who are they? And what did he answer? I used to go to the synagogue and I used to talk and I haven't said anything in secret. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Does that raise a red flag in your head? Yes or no? Tell me. To me, it's raising a red flag. This guy has an opportunity. It should have been like Musa alayhi salam talking to Allah. وَمَا تِلْكَ بِيَمِينِكَ يَا Musa. Musa, what's in your hand? What could he have answered? My stick. Yes or no? قال هي عصاي أتوكل عليها وأحش بها على غنمي ولي فيها مآرب أخرى. He's giving Allah conversation. Allah, it's my stick. I do this, I do that, I do this. Allah and him are talking. Opportunity, take the opportunity. They're asking, what did you do? And you can't answer. Verse 21. Why ask you me? Ask them which heard of me. What I have said unto them. Behold, they know what I said. So let's get this straight. For example, I get fired from this masjid, I go to another masjid, like, so what do? Why are you asking me for? Go ask my musallis of the other masjid. They know better what I do. They should tell you. You don't have to ask me. They know what I do. Does that sound dodgy and fishy, yes or no? So not only is he saying, I just did this and that vague, he's saying, why are you asking me? Go ask the people that heard me what I told them. They know what I said. When he spoke this, one of the officers which was standing next to Jesus, what do we say? Judas. He smacked him with the palm of his hand. He said, why aren't you answering? Like you're in the court and you're giving all these vague answers. He slapped him one. He goes, talk. Why aren't you talking? If he was Isa alayhi salam, he would have spoken. Yes or no? He would have given da'wah that I'm the messenger of Allah and Allah sent me. This is what I did and this is what I said. I made a bat and a bird and I made it come to life. I brought back to life people from the dead. He would have talked for volumes of books. So even the police officer standing next to him smacked him. He's like, talk, what's wrong with you? Judas answered him, if I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if, why are you hitting me? Like, I didn't say anything wrong, so why are you hitting me for? If I said something wrong, then hit me, but I didn't say anything wrong. No, the fact is you're not saying anything. We've arrested you. You're the Jesus of Nazareth who's plotting against the Roman government according to the Jews that you're a part of. And now you have nothing to say? Thus the betrayer in dilemma, Judas, speaks evasively. He cannot preach what Jesus preached in the temple and the synagogue. Many people, I'm just going to go off topic to wake everyone up here. Many people say, Imam Sahib, wo surah aap padhte na, wo to choti surah hai. Badi surah padho na. You read small surah, same surah, read something bigger. You tell them, Bismillah, why don't you go stand up? Before they say Allahu Akbar, their hands are shaking like this. Because when you stand here, it's a different world. It's easy to be a critique. It's hard to stand and do the job. So if he was Jesus, he would have done his job. But he's not Jesus. That's why it's very hard for him to try to even do this job. Is everyone with me so far, inshallah? We are trying to find out the person that got killed, because the Quran made it clear someone did get killed. It changed? We good? Anyways, he couldn't answer them. They had questioned further in religious matters. If it was Jesus, he would have responded. But Judas is evading the questions by saying, I spoke openly, I did nothing in secret, ask the people that I spoke to. Now we're going to go to Matthew chapter 26. The high priest stood up and said to him, do you have no answer? What is it which these witnesses against you? The priest is standing up and saying, why aren't you answering? The Jews here have complaints against you. Can you at least answer these complaints? But Jesus, what do we say everyone, sisters and brothers? Judas held his peace. And the high priest said to him, I adjure you by the living God. Tell us whether you're Christ, the Son of God. Now he's frustrated up saying, are you even Jesus? There was no facial recognition software that time, right? And this is the first time he's coming into the court of the Roman court. He's like, are you even Jesus? Like, by Allah, for the sake of Allah, tell us, who are you? When some false witnesses testify against Jesus, i.e., Judas, the priest is saying, give me an answer, but he remains quiet. And then he said, by the name of Allah, I ask you, are you the Christ? So the main question that's racking their brains also, is this person even Jesus or not? In verse 64, Jesus says to them, you have said. You're asking if Jesus, you've said I'm Jesus. I'm not saying I'm Jesus. Nevertheless, I say to you, henceforth you shall see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven. I'm going to pause here. Question.
Was there any rumors or among people that Jesus? So why?
We talked about manipulation of translation. Yes. So going back to that point, yes. Why did they say the Son of God? Again, it could be two things. Manipulation of translation, because they're trying to grab a point here. Remember, we use the he to mean Jesus, not Judas. So now you have to drive the point. But if you don't push the point, it clearly indicates the person who's being questioned isn't Jesus. And if they say the Son of God, again, that father-son relationship, not meaning literal, but metaphorical. So guess what happens here in verse 64? He says, I will tell you that you will soon see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven. The Christians believe Jesus is going to return. Yes or no? The Muslims believe Jesus is going to return. Yes or no? If this was Jesus, he would have said, soon I will sit next to the hand of power and I will come down in the clouds. Did he say that? No. He said, you will see the Son of Man, Isa alayhi salam, sitting next to Allah and he will come down on the clouds of heaven. That's exactly what's going to happen. Isa alayhi salam is right now staying with Allah, next to Allah. And when the time comes, he will be sent down. What will he be done? He will be sent down. A cloud will bring him down. The angels will bring him down to the minaret of the mosque in Damascus. At that point, he will be asking for assistance to come down, because the point will be made that he is human. The angels brought him only this far. Now as a human, he needs assistance. And then he's going to pray Fajr behind the Imam. And when they open the door, Dajjal will be standing right in front of him. So what did he just say, Judas? The Son of Man will be sitting at the right hand of power and he'll come down. He didn't say himself. So if he was Jesus, who is he talking about? Does that make sense? But he's Judas, and that's why he's saying Jesus is going to come back. Because what did Jesus say? One is going. He went. And one's going to get killed. And he knows he's been cursed. Now all he can do is meet his fate of death. Moving on to the next slide. We only have 3 left, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for your patience, everyone. It's working, mashallah. So this is what I call doomed. They condemn him to death by holding him guilty of blasphemy. The one thing you must note is that in this session, the process of his disfiguration is almost complete. Allah didn't just switch his face. Allah slowly changed his face. Now, understand this point. You'll understand by the end of this. In verse number 67, they spit on him, they buffed him, they smote him with the palms of their hand, as it was quoted in Luke. What does that mean? Once he was convicted for death, for death, for punishment, he was guilty, everyone started beating him. It was a custom, the Roman custom. Now look at this. Who was amongst the disciples? Peter. What's his name, everyone? Peter. Peter was very close to Isa alayhi salam. He was the one person on the basketball team or the soccer team who always stands to the corner and watches the game. And he reads the game. There's always a player on a team who reads the game. And they always end up at the point where the ball's going to be, not where the ball is. So Peter was reading this whole thing. The second that Isa alayhi salam's arrest was about to happen, he saw Isa alayhi salam run with the thing, which is disciples. So he followed Judas to the priest's hall to see what happens to Judas. The priest's servants came and questioned Peter 3 times. How many times? So Peter, they know Peter's a disciple, right? So Peter's now coming, he's sitting in the back where the people sit type of thing, like he's standing there, and they're coming and asking him, is this Jesus? Is this guy Jesus? And all 3 times he what? Denies. Peter was very loyal to Jesus. In Matthew chapter 26, verse 35, Peter said, even if I must die with you, Isa, will I not die ye? Meaning that if the thing comes down to me dying with you, I'll die with you. So Peter is loyal to who? Isa. Is he loyal to Judas? No. So when the police come and ask Peter whether he's a disciple, are you a disciple of that guy? No. Are you a disciple of that guy? No. His loyalty is to who? Isa alayhi salam. And he's saying, no, that means this person is not Isa alayhi salam. Another evidence pointing towards the fact that the man who's been arrested and is being questioned is not Jesus. He is who? Judas. Let's go to the next one. The next day, another account of another session is taking place in Luke chapter 22, verse 66 to 68. As soon as it was day, the elder of the people and the chief priest and the scribes came together and led him into their council, saying, are you the Christ? Tell us. And he said to them, if I tell you, you will not believe. He is so deep into this problem now, he is admitting that even if I tell you, you're not going to believe me. It's not worth it. It's a yes or no question. Tell me, yes or no. Are you Jesus, yes or no? Are you Jesus? Are you Jesus? It's a yes or no question. Why is he saying, if I am to tell you, you won't believe me? Because the curse is on him. He is shamed. And if I also ask you, you will not answer me or let me go. If I was to ask you, hey guys, do me a favor, let me out, I'll go find Jesus. I'm not Jesus. Just give me one chance. You're not going to listen to me. So it's not worth me answering this question. So again, if he was Jesus, he would have told them. Let's go to point 7. Now the trial is taking place before the governor Pilate. And the question he begins with, are you Christ? And most of the time Judas says, you said it. That's your statement, not mine. This story is in Luke, in Mark, in Matthew chapter 27, verse 11, 12, and 14. There's enough evidence repeating the fact that even when they got to the Supreme Court by the governor Pilates, he's asking a simple question. Why should he be asking, are you Jesus? That should have been decided in the lower courts. Why am I needing to ask you? Because the talk of the town is, this guy ain't Jesus. The guy we have is not Jesus. Are you all with me on this? Yes or no? So the governor asked a simple question. Just tell me you're Jesus and we could proceed. Because look, they've convicted you of blasphemy. You need to tell me now, are you Jesus? And he couldn't answer. So now he's going into the trial. Jesus is brought forth for trial. Another officer, in front of another officer. And what happens, his name is Herod. When Herod saw Jesus, he was happy. He was so desirous to see him for the longest time because he had heard many things of him. He hoped to see a miracle done by him. He questioned him in many words, but he didn't answer him nothing. The poor Herod, he's been waiting for such a long time to witness miracles, but now this guy cannot give any. Let me explain this to you. Herod was a Pakistan cricket team supporter living in India. Okay? So, whenever Pakistan hit the chakka, he would say yes, but he couldn't say it loudly. So he had to keep it quiet. Okay? So Herod loved and admired Jesus. Because he heard this guy is standing up for the truth, justice. He's performing amazing miracles. Now it's one-on-one. So Herod goes to, hey, do me a miracle. Show me something. Because the fate of him is now going to the Herod. Are you with me? His fate is in this guy's hand. If it was Isa alayhi salam, this is the best day. Allah, do a miracle. Boom, and out I go. I'm done. I'm free. But the Herod is asking him, can you do a miracle for me? Just show me something. Show me a sign. Show me a symbol. Different things he's asking. And is Jesus delivering? No. Why? Because it's not Jesus. It's who? Judas. By talking evasively and at times refusing to talk, Judas somehow manages to avoid being found guilty by the governor and the other officials. So guess what happened? What happened was that the court decided this case cannot be definitive. Like, the guy isn't speaking right. The Jews are claiming treason and all these crimes, right? But when we take this guy to court, we don't find anything. So we really can't do anything to this guy. Because there was a time when the court of law was such that justice prevailed. If there's a cause, brothers and sisters, that we should be a part of as Muslims in America, is to make sure that our justice system here in America is held accountable. Too many people are in prisons that are privatized and making big money when they didn't commit the intensity of the crime they're convicted for. As Americans, it's our duty to make sure our country, our home, our loving land is taken care of. Yes or no? So, it was interesting to find in the Bible that justice prevails and justice decided this man cannot be killed. But then, the Jews said, wait a second here. We brought this guy to the touchdown line and you can't spike a touchdown? We're going to be shamed. Our influence is going to be gone. So the Jews insisted and insisted and insisted. How did they insist? I cannot say. Was it monetary? Was it blackmail? Was it promises? What did they do? We don't know. But the Jews insisted until they said, fine, we'll crucify him. They knew the case didn't stand. But the Jews realized if they put this case down and Jesus walks, we're done for. Like, we've lost our religious authority against a guy who couldn't even stand up in a case properly, and Jesus will then take the religion forward. And Christianity will become the religion of the people. The Jews didn't want that to happen. And remember, when I say the Jews, doesn't mean all Jews. It was a power of people, a group of people who wanted their power. And so they continued to insist in different ways. They lobbied until they said Jesus will be killed. In Mark chapter 15, verse 19, they smote him on the head with the reed and they spat upon him. They spat upon him and they hit him. The Bible says all these words. So brothers and sisters, we're done tonight. 1 hour and 15 minutes. Tonight we learned that Judas is in the place of Jesus. We learned that Jesus is gone. Where is he gone? We will find out very soon, inshallah, because the Bible says it. And that the transformation of his face is happening. When Allah says, وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ, it was made to be assumed for them that that was Jesus. The transformation of faces occurred. Does that make sense? It took time. And while he's in the court, this was happening. Inshallah, next month, we are going to go into the crucifixion of Judas. And something amazing is going to happen in the crucifixion. Until then, I have a request from all of you. The next 3-4 parts are very long, because we are going to comb through the evidence. You see, I feel it's unjust for me as a scholar who's sharing whatever I've learned to say, figure it out, check it up, Google it. That's not right. I want us, as we've combed through the Bible till now, did we comb through this, yes or no? We've been doing this for 6 times now, right? This is our 6th time. We've been in the Bible for 4 or 5 of these sessions. We made sure that we found from the Bible evidence to back and support what the Quran says. Yes or no? Now we're going to go into the crucifixion where Jesus went, and then we're going to go into Dzul Qarnaiyn. Is he Caesar? Who is this Dzul Qarnaiyn? Is he Alexander the Great? We'll have to go into intense history lessons. So for that, next month, the timing is changing. And the Isha prayer is going to be, I think, 9:15. I don't think it's right to do this after Isha prayer. It's going to be too long. Maghrib prayer is 7 something. Can we continue starting at 8 o'clock, inshallah? If we all start at 8 o'clock, or if we can come at 7:45, we'll send the email out based on you. You're the ones who are important, the sisters and the brothers. The people watching at home are watching or listening, but they cannot see the slides. So if we start at 8 sharp, we can put an hour in before Isha prayer, and we could start at 9:30 and push it to like 10, because this is supposed to be 8 to 10, or maybe 10 past 10 the latest, inshallah. Is everyone okay with that? So keep in mind the time is going to be the same. Isha is at 8 o'clock today, and our program always started after Isha, 8, so we'll keep 8. And then we will adjust the times accordingly. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He guides all of humanity to the truth, and that He allows us all to see His creation as He wants us to see the creation, to understand the signs as the Prophet ﷺ wanted us to understand the signs, and give us the courage and the ability to spiritually, mentally, and physically prepare and protect ourselves and this ummah from the great fitna and trial that's coming. Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. So again, Jazakumullah khairan to all of you. Thank you so much for your time. Inshallah, we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning for the Fajr breakfast, inshallah. Take care, stay warm, drive safely. Assalamu alaikum.
As far as I know, it's not the Injil Allah saying. Obviously, like, some people wrote it or somehow. Okay. So, can we derive any proof from it?
The reason that we're doing this is to exemplify the story from the twisted versions of the Bible that the Quran says. The Prophet is sitting in the masjid. The Sahaba would come and would say, we were walking to the masjid and the people of the book are sitting down telling stories. An amazing story. And the Prophet